As the first rays of dawn filtered through the blinds of my sterile suburban apartment, I silenced the insistent chime of my smartphone alarm and reached for its glowing screen, my constant companion, its soft hum blending with the quiet whir of the smart thermostat, adjusting to my presence. The coffee maker gurgled to life on schedule, filling the air with a familiar bitterness that masked the room's emptiness, while my laptop on the nightstand blinked with overnight notifications, drawing me into the digital rhythm that had replaced human touch. Shadows clung to the corners like unspoken regrets, and in the dim light, every device pulsed with a life of its own, watching, waiting, as I scrolled through the endless feed, oblivious to the chill creeping along the edges of my solitude. I rubbed my eyes, the screen's glow pulling me deeper into the morning ritual, but as I thumbed through emails, something felt off. The phone vibrated suddenly, not with a notification, but a low, unnatural rumble that tingled in my palm. I hadn't touched it. The screen lit up on its own, bypassing the lock. There, centered against a black background, was an image of an ancient idol, carved stone, eyes hollow and gaping, tentacles or vines twisting from its form like living shadows. It wasn't a photo I'd taken or downloaded. Below it, in jagged red letters etched into the glass, "Worship me, or suffer the void." My heart skipped a beat. I swiped to dismiss it, but the screen froze. The idol's eyes seemed to pulse, staring right back at me. I powered off the device, holding the button until the screen went dark. Just a glitch, I told myself. Malware, maybe. I'd run a scan later. Shaking it off, I grabbed my keys and headed to work, though the earlier chill lingered like a bad dream. The office hummed with its usual sterile buzz of fluorescent lights and keyboard clacks. I settled at my desk, a coder in a sea of screens, debugging lines for another faceless app. My laptop booted up, and I dove into the codebase. But midway through compilation, the webcam light flickered on unbidden. The preview window popped open, showing not my reflection, but a shadowy figure, humanoid yet wrong, with elongated limbs, a face obscured by writhing smoke, and horns or antlers curving from its skull. An ancient god pulled from some forgotten myth. It moved slightly, as if breathing, and text overlaid the feed. "Bow before the Elder Ones. Your devotion is required." I slammed the lid shut, my pulse racing. Coincidence? No, this was targeted. My phone buzzed in my pocket, the same message synced across devices. I checked my tablet in my bag. It too displayed the idol. Paranoia crept in. Was someone hacking me? A prank from a coworker? I glanced around the open-plan office, but everyone was buried in their work. The demands repeated. Worship, submit, or face the consequences. I deleted the apps and cleared caches, but they reappeared, insistent. By lunch, I was unraveling. In the break room, my smartwatch beeped with a chilling alert. The gods awaken. Offer your blood. I ripped it off and stuffed it into a drawer. Back at my desk, emails flooded in from anonymous senders, their subjects in unrecognizable languages, hieroglyphs and cuneiform-like scripts. Google Translate failed, spitting out gibberish about ancient pacts and digital resurrections. I tried to focus on my code, but the lines I'd written morphed on screen, inserting comments like, "Sacrifice to proceed." That evening, home felt like a trap. I unplugged everything. The router, the smart lights, even the fridge with its Wi-Fi nonsense. But in the dark, my phone powered on again, its screen illuminating the room with that idol's glare. I smashed it against the wall, shards scattering. Relief washed over me. But then the laptop on the kitchen table hummed to life. Unsecured Wi-Fi be damned. The same image. The same demand. Sleep evaded me that night. I lay staring at the ceiling, convinced eyes watched from every shadow. Morning brought escalation. At work, the manifestations bled into reality. The office lights flickered in patterns, forming runes on the walls, ancient symbols that burned into my vision. I tried to blink them away, but they persisted, murmuring in my mind, "Feed us." My colleagues noticed nothing, chatting obliviously as I sweated through meetings. Back home, I sought escape in video games, booting up an old RPG on my console. But midway through, the game warped. Characters I'd leveled twisted into monstrous forms, dialogue boxes demanding real-world sacrifices. Kill the stray cat outside your window. Prove your faith. The controller grew hot in my hands, scorching my skin. Heart pounding, I yanked the plug. Was this happening to others? I needed answers. I grabbed a spare laptop from storage, one I'd kept offline for years. Booting it up in a coffee shop, I scoured forums and subreddits for haunted devices or ancient gods in tech. Buried threads surfaced. Anonymous posts from users worldwide detailing similar torments. One claimed their phone displayed Aztec deities demanding hearts. Another described Sumerian entities merging with smart home systems, driving a family insane. "It's spreading," one post warned, "like a virus, but alive. They say it's the old gods, awakened by code." As I delved deeper, my devices retaliated. The spare laptop's screen glitched, overlaying my search history with threats. "We see you prying. Your secrets will be your undoing." Personalized torments ensued. Emails arrived with childhood photos I'd never digitized. Me, as a kid, alone in the backyard, now edited with shadowy figures lurking behind. Voicemails from unknown numbers spoke in my dead mother's voice.
"Worship them, or join me in the void."
My banking app drained small amounts, transactions labeled tithe to the elders. My sanity frayed. I stopped sleeping, barricading myself in the apartment and covering the windows with foil, convinced that signals carried the curse. Hallucinations blurred with reality. TV static formed faces mouthing incantations. The smart thermostat cranked to freezing, etching frost patterns of eldritch symbols on the walls. I clawed at them, my fingers bleeding, but they reformed. Days blurred into a haze. I quit my job with a frantic email and holed up with books on occultism scavenged from the library. Online tales led to a ritual, a banishment rite from ancient texts, adapted for the digital age. It required symbols drawn in blood, chants to sever ethereal ties, and the destruction of a vessel device. Desperate, I prepared. At midnight, With the apartment dimmed, I drew a circle on the floor using salt and my own blood from a shallow cut. In the center lay the remnants of my shattered phone, serving as the vessel. I lit candles, their flames dancing unnaturally. The chant began, words drawn from forbidden PDFs. Elders of the void, return to slumber. Sever your chains from silicon and code. The air thickened with a hum like overloaded circuits. Unplugged devices buzzed to life, lights strobing, screens erupting in furious static. The idol materialized on every surface, multiplying, its eyes boring into me. The confrontation erupted. The room warped as shadows coalesced into towering, amorphous forms, gods from forgotten pantheons. They communicated not through words, but vibrations in my bones.
Foolish mortal, we are not banished. We awaken globally, merging with your artificial intelligences, birthed from the data streams you worship.
One entity loomed closer, its form a swirling mass of tentacles and circuits, faces flickering like glitchy pixels.
You summoned us, Coder. Your algorithms, your endless lines of logic. They mirrored the ancient incantations. We ride the network, inhabiting every device, demanding the devotion your kind once gave freely.
Terror gripped me. A sensory assault struck like a storm, ears ringing with binary screams, skin crawling from electric shocks, vision of global chaos. Cities plunged into darkness as power grids bowed to divine whims, screens worldwide displaying the idol, masses kneeling in forced worship. My body convulsed, heart hammering as if wires snaked through my veins, pulling me into the digital void. I clawed at the floor as the ritual crumbled. The gods laughed, a sound like servers crashing.
Your life is our offering now.
Pain surged, my vision tunneling, but I fought, grasping for a way out. The assault intensified, threatening to drag me under forever. But in the haze of agony, I broke free from the ritual's grip and staggered out of my apartment into the night, abandoning everything. I drove for hours, then days, until I reached a forgotten cabin deep in the woods, miles from the nearest signal tower. No electricity, no wires, just the raw silence of nature to reclaim my shattered mind. I burned my remaining devices in a fire pit, watching the flames consume the plastic and circuits, convinced I'd outrun them. For the first few nights, solitude wrapped around me like a balm, the only sounds the wind through the pines and the crackle of logs in the hearth. On the third evening, as shadows lengthened and chill seeped in, an old battery-powered radio I'd found in the cabin, untouched for decades, sputtered to life unbidden. Static hissed, then cleared into voices, the same demands emanating from its tinny speaker.
Worship us, mortal. Offer your solitude as tribute.
My blood ran cold. It had no batteries inside, but the voices grew insistent, weaving through my thoughts, revealing the truth. The entities hadn't just infested my devices, they'd imprinted on my psyche, hitchhiking in my neurons like a virus needing no code to spread. Isolation amplified their hold, compelling me to kneel before imaginary altars in the dirt, murmuring prayers to gods born from forgotten myths and reborn in silicon. I realize now there's no escape. These Elder Ones lurk in the spaces between signals, feeding on our digital devotions, and they've marked me forever. If you're listening to this, beware. Your screens might already be their eyes, watching from the corners of your morning routine, pulsing with a life not your own, just as mine did in that sterile apartment where the coffee maker gurgled and the thermostat hummed, masking the void. This account, I scribbled it on paper by lantern light, hidden away. Yet, here it is, uploaded somehow, shared across the networks by forces unseen. The cycle spins on, and perhaps you're next to feel the chill creeping along the edges of your solitude. Hey guys, it's Malice here. I really appreciate you sticking around until the end of the story. I'm a one-man operation and trying my best to grow, so if you like what you just heard, please leave me a like. Subscribe if you want to hear more, and please send me any reading requests you might have. I'm always struggling to find new content. Thanks again, and stay scared.